So it then became, sort of this, like the night I remember with Jarrett and Hogan, almost immediately, like boom, as soon as the decision was made, he wasn't going to do the favor, there was these camps that popped up, and people bickering and talking, and it just like the whole chemistry of the dressing room changed instantly. And it's like, to me, ultimately, this is all about business, right? So if I hired James to come to work for my company, I'm going to tell James what I need from him, and James will give me that. And if James doesn't want to give me that, I may not, the old guys would say, "You're fired, get out." I might have a little more understanding. Okay, well, I understand your point, but have a discussion. But if ultimately I believe we have to go my direction and you don't want to do that, then I don't need your services anymore. And that's what should have happened in WCW, and it didn't happen in WCW. So that cancer started to metastasize and grow. And then we had the whiteboard being erased, and we had little issues popping up between guys you wouldn't expect to pop up. It just became very much like this company's headed to the morgue. You could feel it.
With Jeff and Hogan, how long did it take for you to sort of figure out what the actual story was? Because I believe, wasn't it meant to be I always hate using the wrestling terms for this, but I can't really think of anything else, is meant to be a work or a semi-work, semi-shoot that ended up being a full shoot somewhere in the middle. What did you sort of work out from all that?
Well, in our business, if you're like I am, highly suspicious of everything, that's your first go-to. What's the angle? Like when Owen fell to his death, I was at home and I'm thinking, this is a terrible angle. Why would they be doing this, right? And then you realize it's true, and it changes everything. That night in the building, in the real moment, like we talked about presentism, right, and viewing it through a contemporary lens. My view of it at that point in the building was not that there was a work shoot going on, but that there was now these things that were quietly spoken of in hotel rooms and cars was bubbling out into the open. And, so I think the net result was what Jeff just went out and laid down for him.
Yeah.
Just sort of like an exclamation point of, what it was supposed to be. But there was never any passing of that torch. And with all due respect to those guys, I'm not talking bad about them whenever I say Hogan was an amazing draw. He was getting older. Flair was an amazing worker. He was getting older. It was time to. Terry Bradshaw was a great quarterback for the Steelers. I don't want to see him quarterback the Steelers today. It just, and it catches up with all of us. And I think that whole thing, that whole episode of that generation refusing to pass that torch. Some guys like Steve Austin figured out a way to take it from them. Other guys like me was more than happy to just walk away from it. But the politics of the business had always been the cancer. And I used to say that openly. It'll eat this company up, and it always does. If it's not dealt with, look what's happening in AEW. I mean, that cancer's growing. It's not been dealt with.